If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and we're joined now by JFK researcher and journalist, investigative reporter, Ted Rubinstein. Ted Rubinstein, are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you so much. So people can go back, and Ted's a really old-time, long-time friend of the show. We've done about 10 shows with him. People can go on the Spreaker archives and check out all our past shows we've done on many, many different topics. Ted's a well-known researcher on many, many topics and expert on JFK. Now, Ted, we had an incident.
By the way, I'm not much of a reporter.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just mainly a researcher. Anyway.
Now, and that helps me with the show all the time. He's a good friend of the show, and I appreciate your help, Ted, that you helped me out and advise me. Now, Ted, there's when the storming of the Capitol, right?
Oh, wait, let me just tell I've got a new nickname or a new appellation now that you didn't mention.
Go ahead.
I'm the nagging wife of the JFK research community.
You kind of are.
Barber.
According to John Barber?
Yes.
I just had John Barber on the show the other day. Oh, boy, what a cast of characters.
Anyway.
I'm
not the only person in this community, as it were, who's had problems with him.
With John Barber?
But, yeah.
And I like John Barber.
He blocked me, and he's got a beef with me that, well, it just has to do with being intellectually honest, or the case may be.
Yeah, I had him on just recently.
They'd rather just block you than have an argument or discussion with you.
I just had him on talking about Larry King. And then I had A.J. Weberman on, and of course he knows John Barber, and he knows Larry King too. No love lost in the JFK community, that's for sure. Okay, it's getting like a Thanksgiving dinner.
I heard that show, though. I heard you talking to John Barber about Larry King.
Yeah. Well, A.J. has a different version of events, you know, so who knows. Anyway, back to the storming of the Capitol that we had January 6th. And a few days later, there was a suicide of a gentleman, a hill cop named Leibengood. And Leibengood's dad used to be the sergeant-at-arms of the Senate and then went on to become a lobbying firm and merged his lobbying firm with Stone and Manafourt. But it comes out that Leibengood was also involved in the JFK assassination investigation. What do you know, Mr. Ted Rubinstein?
Are we talking about the father or the son?
First, the father.
Okay, the father was an aide to Senator Howard Baker, who served on the Watergate Committee.
Okay.
And the reason I know his name is because he was mentioned by sometime guest of yours, Scott Kaiser, whose father was a mercenary, a soldier of fortune, possibly a hired assassin.
And Scott claimed that his dad was also a Watergate burglar. Yeah, that he was also a Watergate burglar.
And he was the so-called sixth Watergate burglar, although other people have been credited with being the sixth Watergate burglar. He was a pal of those people, so he definitely qualifies. But at the time of Watergate, Kaiser went on the lam in Haiti and was the guest of the casino owner, Mike McClaney. Okay, but so the reason we knew his name is because Scott Kaiser was trying to get all the files released under Freedom of Information about his father and resolve the question about whether his father had a direct connection to the Kennedy assassination or not. So he sued for these files, and actually, I don't know if he filed his FOIA suit. He went online and he found out that there were files about his father online. I'm pretty sure he went FOIA route, but he might have just posted what he found online. And the person who was in charge of the records that he discovered that dealt with Kaiser were among the papers that Leibengood supposedly had control over, although he didn't have them in a place where you couldn't go find them online, because when Scott Kaiser found it, he posted the files he found with the redactions and talked about Leibengood and his dealings with him. But he said that he just told me recently, Scott Kaiser did, that Leibengood was mad at him for posting the papers that belonged to him, and he had no right to do so. And that Scott Kaiser told him in return, but they may have been in your possession, but they dealt with my father, and that's why I released them. And it's in the public interest.
Wait, Ted, are we saying that Leibengood's father is still alive?
No, Leibengood's father died in 2005.
Okay.
Kaiser's been doing research on his father for about, couple of decades, I guess. But anyway, I think it said that Leibengood died in 2005 on his Wikipedia page. Yes. 1942 to 2005.
It's interesting. You mentioned how Leibengood. You said Leibengood was down there. No. Who was hiding out there? Kaiser. Kaiser was hiding out in Haiti.
Yeah, Kaiser went all around the world. He went to Israel, he was in Alaska doing God knows what. Because
it's interesting because James Hunt, the nephew of Frank Sturgis, told me that Frank Sturgis had his own B-25 bomber, okay, and flew over the Haitian palace and dropped bombs on the palace over there. Perhaps this
all these guys were involved with Haiti,
yeah,
and trying to overthrow Papa Doc and Baby Doc, establish casinos there, and probably for narcotics. Who knows what? But anyway, yeah, these mercenaries and underworld types have had a long interest in Haiti, especially back then in the early 60s.
And now we have the Clintons over there doing everything.
So that's something I keep hearing about, but I'm not familiar with the details of that at all.
I'll send you some shows. We've done hours on it, and
But I know I could always look it up.
Yeah, and the scandals.
And I do sort of trust the people that you've had on to discuss it. Although I know that it's unpopular in certain circles, but I think Peter Schweitzer seems like a straight shooter to me. But what do I know?
Well, I also had Alice Backer, who was an attorney from Haiti, and also too, that whole thing with the tiny homes there that they sent all that money down, that all went through the HRC.
I've heard you mention the tiny homes.
Yeah,
I can imagine like a dollhouse or something.
Well, no, those little like one-room homes that you see that are popular now, and the guy, the company, okay, that was building those tiny homes that stole all that money, Obama was involved, Bush was involved, what's his name, Wesley Clark was involved, and the Clintons were involved, and they put a guy in charge who had a computer repair company, and they used his corporation. This little guy, used computer company. They put everything under his name, and that guy went to president. Everybody else skated free on that thing. Total mind-boggling scam. But tell us more about Leibengood. We're here to hear about Leibengood.
It's ignored because of the participants involved. There's no real interest in going after those.
And they're on both sides of the aisle too. So who's gonna set up the hearings?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially in a case like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Sun, which I knew nothing about, so I just heard the name Leibengood, and I go, Leibengood? Well, I remember hearing that name, and so I looked it up and I found he's Howard Leibengood. He has the same name, and by the way, you see how the Sun got a job as the sergeant at arms at the Capitol, because like father like son, they both had the same job at one time. Anyway, so I I then went to, when I found out he was Howard Leibengood, I assumed, well, they got to be connected. And I didn't go to Wikipedia. Instead, I DM'd Scott Kaiser, and he told me that, yes, he's the son of the guy that he was dealing with regard to the files which dealt with Kaiser's father, who's a very interesting character, by the way. But still secret files. They probably are among the files that are not believed relevant, and NBR.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Rubinstein, when you see a name like Leibengood showing up as a suicide in this event here, and a coup attempt, an obvious coup attempt, does that make your ears perk up and say, hey, what's going on there?
Well, probably should, but it didn't. Because I haven't heard anyone else I haven't heard anyone else making this connection or suggesting that this guy didn't commit suicide. But it does strike me bizarre that this guy would just take his own life, because he played a role in this incident and a bunch of people died. Maybe he feels in some way responsible. Survivor's guilt? Who knows? I don't know.
And there's very little reporting on this.
Well, I'm sure there's been some reporting in the Washington Post about it.
Now, you're not familiar with the connections to his father's lobbying firm, to Stone and Manafourt?
No, that is not news. That is news to me, and I don't believe I see it in the Wikipedia.
It's probably not in the Wikipedia.
I see the Philip Morris connection.
Oh, that's interesting, too.
He's a tobacco lobbyist, but that's hardly surprising.
Yeah. And also, this week, too, there was the death of Eugenio Martinez. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, he's one of the 5 Watergate burglars. Was one of the CIA-connected Cuban mercenaries. Some might call them freedom fighters. Hunt and Liddy recruited all Cubans from Miami to carry out the Watergate operation and some of the other break-ins. And, sorry, the lamp just fell down. And Martinez, most of them are dead. Liddy's still alive. Hunt died. But anyway, Rolando Martinez died this week. It came out in 2016 that he was still on the CIA payroll at the time of the Watergate break-in, although he had denied that. He's also interesting in the context of several of the Watergate burglars. Maybe all of them have been named as possible participants in the assassination of President Kennedy. And according to one account, Rolando Martinez was the spotter for another Watergate burglar who supposedly did the shooting that day, named Virgilio Gonzalez. Now, I believe Virgilio Gonzalez appears in that infamous photo, Barry and the Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some of those identifications are in dispute, but I think it's basically agreed that some people claim that the one that I'm talking about that has been identified as Virgilio Gonzalez is in fact William Seymour, but it's not William Seymour. Anyway, that's interesting because that links the activities of these Watergate Bay of Pigs guys to Barry Seal and, well, some of them, I think they said that 10% of the Bay of Pigs veterans went on to become involved in the drug trade. So that photograph is really not that surprising.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's interesting that photograph, you talk about Barry and the Boys, it's that infamous photograph of all these Operation 40 hitmen and assassins, CIA agents, and Watergate burglars all sitting at this nightclub here. I think it's in Mexico or something like that, or Colombia.
I think they said Mexico.
Yeah.
In the early 60s.
And the photograph was obtained by none other than Daniel Hopsicker, who's another frequent guest on the show here. So it's a small world with all these characters, you know. And there's
Daniel Hopsicker does incredible work.
Oh, yeah. And he lives right by me now, too. We're going to meet in person.
Mad Cow Morning News for the listeners out there.
Mad Cow Productions, madcowprod.com. Excellent work.
So you're pretty mystified then about why this guy would take his own life under these circumstances.
Yeah, there's been some reporting that even Manafort's company, Event Productions, ran that event too as well. They ran the tent there, and they handled the state, what do you call it, the event planning for this thing. And we know Stone was there. He was just photographed with the Proud Boys there that morning. We have Giuliani and Kerrick and that whole crew meeting with some of these the QAnon shaman, and we also know too that the recent coup attempt down.
Now, this shaman is the one with the Buffalo Bill outfit, or
the big giant horns,
horns?
Yeah, and he has all this white supremacist Nazi Norse tattoos all over his body too. Very strange guy. But
where did you read about the connection to the Manafourt?
That was on Twitter, and it was reposted by a serious journalist, and you could find it. It's out there. The name of the company is exactly the same, and Manafort was connected to this. And the two people that are listed as still being involved with that company were partners with Manafort in that company, the event staffing, event productions, or whatever it's called, something like that. So yeah, there's that, and then you have a connection with the Leibengood's father with
Well, Buzz Kaiser was also, I think, doing something with Roger Stone for a while. But then
really?
Roger Stone, he wrote a book about the Kennedy assassination, blaming Johnson. So he's had dealings with a whole lot of people over these issues. So that's not a surprise either.
And wait, did you read that article I sent you about the off the rails from the Axios article?
I just scanned it.
Oh, okay. Because it's all about the Flynn being there at the White House with Sidney Powell, and so the New York Times just reported in the past couple of days that Trump was thinking of naming Flynn as a director of the FBI or chief of staff in the White House. Okay, so and Flynn was running around telling everybody he wanted to declare martial law. And Flynn's brother, by the way, was involved in. He was a part of the Army. And the D.C. police had to request through the Department of the Army, because it's different there in D.C. because they're not a state. He was involved in sending out the National Guard, and there was that 2-hour delay of sending out the National Guard. I got to tell you, Ted, man, there's coup fingerprints all over this situation.
Given you have this point of view, do you think it's justified to keep these troops there?
Well,
that's just in order to send a different message, and just more of this exercise of control over the population to see what they'll put up with.
I'll tell you this. I was just in D.C.
Well, but...
Okay, I was just in D.C. I just came back about 10 days ago. And what's not being reported in the news is that on January 6th, when all those MAGA types were running around, they looted some liquor stores. And they looted a gas station, and they took an ATM, and they looted a liquor store and took liquor. And that's not being reported anywhere. So there was, street rioting that went on there too as well, besides just that attack.
That seems to be an ongoing pattern. They know when things are going to happen and when the police are going to be devoted, and so there's going to be some opportunists that are going to go after ATM machines and other stuff. That's ridiculous.
But the ATM thing, that's an organized crime kind of deal. That's for sure. Yeah. But so I saw
disorganized, but I mean, the point is, you can be disorganized, but with the internet and stuff, you can be more organized than you would have been.
Yeah, I think at one of the Black Lives Matter events that they had, they arrested 19 guys for going around blowing up ATMs and pulling them out.
Was that again?
During one of the Black Lives Matter protests, they arrested 19 guys, an organized group that were going around and blowing up ATMs and pulling them out of the wall. And they caught one, and once they got his phone and his communications, they rounded everybody else up.
Yeah, not surprising.
No, that stuff goes on. But the question of what do you think? It is discouraging, to have National Guard troops surrounding the Capitol. But I think maybe the Capitol is still afraid that there's
And
some
they're always
loyalists.
talking about the optics. It's really lousy optics that came out of all of it. And just to see all the stuff that the liberals get upset about, which they should be getting upset about, cancel culture and the fact that these tech companies can do whatever they want, and as long as it pals with the people in Washington, they basically can operate that way in this imperious manner, arbitrary and capricious as they are.
Well, Ted, my YouTube channel
There's a whole bunch of negative trends.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. There's no good news out there. But my YouTube channel has been shut down and demonetized for years. It's been demonetized now for over a year and a half. They shut down the first one without any questions.
Well, no, you don't talk about that much. The reason I know about all these people that are being demonetized and deplatformed is because either I don't see them anymore or they're making a big deal of it about it. And like Jason Burns is talking about it 6 months now since I've been demonetized.
Yeah.
Says it every day, every time he's on.
Wow,
So,
I'm not a crybaby. I'm not a crybaby like I'm not a crybaby, Jason Burns. I'm used to. I'm on the left. I'm used to being oppressed.
So, I mean, what do you just attribute to the fact that you handle controversial subjects, including conspiracies? And
I think it's my leftist. I think it's my leftist politics that gets me the most heat.
But they get accused of being such big lefties. Isn't that ironic?
But they are capitalists, right? There's no doubt they're capitalists, and they're so they're definitely not friends of mine. I got to tell you, Ted, I was just thinking about this earlier. You remember the Brinks job, back in Nyack, New York, there back in the 80s, with the Black Liberation Army and Matula Shakur and all those guys. I got to tell you, when I used to hang out at WBAI, this leftist radio station back in New York, and Matula Shakur would come up there. He'd come up to the station, have meetings with the program director, all kind of stuff, Republic of New Africa. And when after that robbery, and they arrested Matula Shakur, who had nothing to do with it, he wasn't there. The allegation was they were going to donate money to him with the proceeds of the robbery. We were all convinced that they could round up any of us at that point. Any of us that were in those circles could be rounded up and charged with something, and even though you had no direct involvement in anything. So I've lived my whole life expecting this.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't happen. Now, by the way, what is the relation of the guy to Afeni Shakur?
Oh, I think
her
that's
husband?
Afeni. Yeah, he's Tupac's stepfather.
Oh, okay. Is he dead or alive?
He's still in prison right now. He's got a lot of medical problems, diabetes and stuff, and he's still serving his sentence with no compassion, no nothing.
Huh. I haven't heard much of a campaign to get him sprung, but
There is. The same people with Mumia, the same crowd is trying to get him sprung too as well. John Potash, he talks about it all the time. But Ted, we're running out of time. What else you want to share with us? What else is Ted Rubinstein working on?
I don't know. Nothing that comes to mind that I could important just as a short time here. I just keep my ear to the ground, following what's going on. And I'm very much looking forward to the A.J. Weberman podcast. He's always a great guy to listen to, even if he's off the wall sometimes.
We almost lost him. He had COVID. He was in the hospital.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die.
Yeah, so you'd think so. The guy's he's so old. He can't smoke marijuana anymore. He has to use edibles. But what I love the most about AJ is there was one interview where he says, "I gotta go. My French fries are ready." He hangs up on me, and this last one too. I think he got a little annoyed with me toward the end there too, and just kind of, "Oh yeah, gotta leave me alone." AJ Weberman, you gotta love him. I first met AJ when I was like 17 years old, with the Yippies in New York.
Oh, that's when you met him.
Yeah. I used to get my hash from AJ.
His book, CIA,
was already out.
That was one of the first assassination books I ever got.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It was in 1975 the book came out.
Yeah,
He's been ever since. His nodules, his research nodules that he has posted online are just incredible pieces of research. I don't know who has time to read these things. It's go on and on, but they're just filled with fascinating data.
And he gets involved in so many controversial topics, too, and takes them head on, you know?
Right. I don't even hear about half of them.
I know. Well, because he's another guy that canceled. You talk about being canceled. He was knocked off of Amazon. All his books were taken off of Amazon because of some dispute he had with some attorney. And his Giuliani book, Kerrick went after him, Rudy went after him.
He gets in disputes with a lot of people.
Well, like we all do, don't
and
we,
then
Ted?
there's always his involvement with the JDL and the supposedly the rumors about Mossad connections, which I don't know what to make of that.
JDO, the Jewish
I don't know
Defense
if they would
Organization.
deal with someone like that. He's just so unpredictable.
I hear you. You got to be on your toes. You got to stay on your toes. You don't want them on your bad side because you're going to get 10,000 prank phone calls right off the bat. But it was your Jewish Defense Organization, not the Jewish Defense League. It was a different organization, a little bit more militant, a little bit more
I know
active.
it was. And I used to read about JDO through the Lyndon LaRouche newspaper.
Yeah, oh, that's
and
right.
It certainly made for entertaining reading.
Yeah, they didn't get along with LaRouche. None of us got along with LaRouche back in those days. Ted Rubinstein, we are out of time. Thank you so much. We got to have you back for a full hour. Just we'll come up with some stuff and we'll have you back. Okay, man?
All right. I like that.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay.